Hello everyone, it's Gallic from Noctua Gaming. Welcome to my channel. I hope everything is going well today. We're going to be talking about a new game that I have been playing. While yes, I very much enjoyed playing EU4, I do have love of many other games. I also have a love for Dark Souls series as well as Elden Ring. That being said, let's go ahead and dive into the last Berserker, Khazan. I just want to talk about the basics of gameplay and then the gameplay overall and what I think about it, so let's get started. Since this is Dark Souls, you get a stamina bar, but so does other humans that you fight. Monsters have a one that do not recharge, so eventually you will break it. When anyone loses their stamina, you become exhausted. Once you get hit, you get half of it back. When an enemy is exhausted, you get to do a brutal attack, which always feels amazing. You only get 3 choices for weapons, but each one comes with a skill tree. And don't fear trying things out. You can simply right click to take it back, to reuse, or even just take them all from the tree and switch weapons. You have the dual wield weapon, which is aggressive, dodgy, and can perform high flying feats as well as just very aggressive skills, which is very enjoyable. It's a good balanced weapon for both health and stamina damage. Then you have the greatsword. Hello good friend. It's slower, and once you start attacking, you're committed. But hey, look at the bright side. You can get more poise with it, so it does not stop you. It's high damage and all about charging up the weapon for more strength. It really brings in the damage. Then there is the spear, all about being the main character energy and breaking the opponent's stamina. It's quick, it's precise, and all about getting those brutal attacks off. All the weapons feel amazing and they each bring something to the table. While I pretty much played through the game with the greatsword, I would say it's not a terrible idea to change it up from time to time in your run just to spice things up. The game evolves around doing missions in each act, getting to the end, of course, fighting the bosses. There are collectibles in each mission to help you out with your power, either it being blacksmith plans for set armors, consumables, or even netherworld energy, which is what you use to heal. Most of the mobs you come across are not too difficult, some more than others. But then there are elite versions. Once defeated, you don't have to fight them again, and they tend to be fairly difficult. I did get slowed down on a few of them, and others I just plowed through like any normal mob. For killing mobs, you get Lacrima, which is what's used to level up your stats at your bonfires, swords that are your bonfires. Each weapon does have a main stat, but you can buy items to reset all your stats and redistribute them, so never feel like you're stuck with one weapon. Now let's get down to what I think the game mainly evolves around, and that's the boss fights. I love the Soul series for their tough boss fights and beating that wall that you keep running into. That feel of finally getting the bastard that has been giving me all this grief. I feel like the game did a bang up job on them. I never felt like the main bosses repeated anything. They were unique and imbued with the character that they are. I also never felt like anything they did was unavoidable, cheap, or too difficult to overcome. As the game progressed, I felt like I had to start engaging the mechanics of the game to finally take down certain ones. I think I really started understanding the mechanics of the game by the 7th boss because I had to start really experimenting with things to defeat him. I definitely hit a wall with him. That is when I finally started to learn reflection and when was a good time to use it, which really deals damage to stamina great for bosses. Now I'm going to bring up the item system of the game because really it's kind of all about the crafted gear, and the good crafted gear comes from the bosses, so you'll need to engage with the bosses again, which I like because once I beat them, I usually don't have a hard time redoing it again. That being said, you do get drops from mobs and find them in chests throughout the game. While you can get the sets you want randomly off mobs or even off adversary revenants, that is random, of course. The bosses do drop a random piece of set gear that uses their unique item drops you get off them. Usually the blacksmith plans are on a side mission where the boss was defeated. There's also an NPC, Oksana. She can re-roll attributes on your weapon and gear if you're not satisfied with it after you do a mission for her. She can also upgrade gear from a lower level by sacrificing gear that are higher level to increase its own level, so you don't have to make new gear. You will get a ton of gear by just playing the game, so it should not be too big of a problem to do it that way once you find the gear set you like. That being said, you will sacrifice a lot of gear to make the gear by dismantling it with the blacksmith to make a higher quality gear. But again, you will get a ton of gear by running around doing the missions. I never came across being short on anything. Now that we've gone through all the game mechanics, I'm going to tell you how I feel overall about the game. is a very well put together game. How the mechanics all come together to make fighting bosses feel very satisfying. Getting the parry and the brink parry both visually look different, as well as the dodge and the brink dodge makes it feel great when you perform them. Doing combos and do spirit attacks back into combos if you have the stamina to lead to breaking the stamina of a boss feels really awesome. While I feel like the game looks great in the cell shading, I think it brings out a uniqueness to the game. It's much more fast-paced than the Dark Souls series. It's still about learning the boss's moves and combos to inch your way towards victory and getting that satisfying result of finally bringing down the wall that you keep throwing yourself into. There's a few times where I actually clapped for myself after I defeated a boss because of how much grief they seem to have given me. I'm looking at you, Traka. I would like to restate that the bosses do all feel unique. Other than the side bosses who do look similar, though some of them have different attack patterns, so you have to learn them. But the main ones each have their own flair. From the Yeti with spikes on his back, Volbano, a sacred beast with a big hammer in one hand and a spike in the other, to Aratra, a giant spider that can have his front legs destroyed, as well as after them, to the big jackass Rankus, with a mace crossbow that was a menace for me to beat. While I sometimes was saying it was BS, or I was upset at it, or it was more about me slowly learning it and being more mad at myself than the game because I was just being a silly goose on the loose. Now I do think it has some weaknesses in it. It's not a perfect game, but it is one outstanding one that I did truly enjoy. While the missions do all look visually good and themed well, they do grant a grand view of it all, and it just looks foggy and hazy as it looks farther out from it. So it's never a breathtaking view, but there are some amazing views, with the two moons being in great views aligning up with the environment to make it always look like it's watching you. Also, I can see the crafting system and the loot system being a bit of a menace to some people. Having to refight bosses, or always having new weapons being slightly better and always thinking you have to put the better weapon or armor on because it's 0.5% better than what you're wearing. And I suppose some of the optional bosses are repeats of the bosses you just fought. I think if they waited a little longer before engaging them, it would not be so bad. With the Sacred Beast, Balbano, in the next option quest, you fight a ghost form of him, so I could see people not liking it after just fighting him. Even though it's a ghost version of him, and he does disappear and reappear, changing the fight slightly. Overall though, this is a fantastic game. If you enjoy Dark Souls type games, the combat feels amazing. The flow of the fight is a lot of fun. And I have to say, get it if you can. If it comes on sale, all the better for you. Now I wanted to get this done a while ago, but I got a new job and I finally got adjusted to it. And then I got sucked into the new Oblivion remaster. Whoops. Anyways, thanks for watching. Wherever you are, I hope you are having a great morning, a great evening, or a great night. Bye.